first met you. It's where our story began. It's where you first said that you loved me. Now we aren't even friends.
Hey everybody, I am Uncle Rob and I am at the Tribe Nation Studios here in Little Rock, Arkansas, and my co-host Uncle Rhino. Man, what is up?
Oh, just running, turning, and burning, baby.
He is at our Tribe Nation Studios in Shreveport, Louisiana, and as you know, our show is, we do interviews with the biggest and best upcoming independent artists as well as music legends. We've got a new independent artist, not so new. I mean, to you guys, she might be. I've been around her for about 6 or 7 years. She's got some really great music. We're going to talk about that, but I want her to introduce herself to y'all. Jennifer Alvarado, how are you?
I am great. Thank you both for having me on. I appreciate it. So I'm Jennifer Alvarado. I am a singer-songwriter originally from Hickory, North Carolina. And I've actually, I guess June will be my 5-year mark of doing this full-time. So I kind of wavered in what I was doing in life and did the rational sane plan for a while and realized I was absolutely miserable and made my way back to music and started out in worship ministry, actually, in Christian music. And then in 2020, everything kind of went haywire. I think a lot of people could say that. And I started releasing all these songs that I had written for country and kind of pop-esque, but they were just sitting on a shelf because I really had kind of beat myself down over time and thinking that this is never going to happen and I don't know how to make this happen. And so ended up sending some songs out as kind of like a last fail, like, here you go, people. And honestly thought I wouldn't even hear back from a radio station. And at that time, Indie Star Radio contacted me and started playing stuff. And it kind of just took on like a wildfire as far as people's contacting me to come play and liking what I was doing. So
Alan's a great guy, by the way, Indie Star Radio. That is who you're referring to, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been around Alan forever. So tell us a little bit about what is life like in Hickory, North Carolina? What goes on over there for you?
I would say it's definitely small town vibes, but if you've been to Charlotte, it has sort of that Charlotte, like they try to be Charlotte on some level. But it's still small town. And so I actually live about 30 minutes outside of Hickory now. I live in basically the country. So I live with cows all around me. And it's kind of the contrast of when I get tired of Nashville, I can come home and just be around cows. So,
you a farm girl?
I definitely am city girl, but I like farm girl. Like I grew up with horses and all that kind of stuff. So like I love that, but I definitely lived in the city. And so I kind of go back and forth, but I need the peace of like land and not a whole lot of people at times.
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs their little time to get away. Ryan's chewing at the bit over there. What's up, Ryan?
No, I'm just laughing. I think, if you grow up in the city, you love the farm. If you grow up on a farm, you're dreaming of the city. That's just human nature. I've had both. Yep. I went straight from East Texas to New York, and I thought there was stuff in New York that was amazing. People were like, I couldn't live up there. And I was like, I did. And everybody thought I'd come from the moon up there, And then vice versa, I bring them down and they freak out, once they realize that you can drive an hour and 40 minutes between gas stations in Texas. They're terrified, So I love both of them. And you from North Carolina over there, though, that's absolutely beautiful. I've always loved North Carolina.
Yeah, I love the Carolinas. I love being from here. This is definitely my home. I don't know. I've always been kind of that person, though, that like I at one point I wanted to go to New York for college. Like I was like dead set that I'm going to New York City. And there's times that like when I went to LA that I love that. There's just also that part of me that like I need green grass. Like I need somewhere to like I actually put my feet on grass.
Well, you ain't getting no green grass in Los Angeles or probably New York. I've
No.
noticed that. It's like Rhino had said, North Carolina is beautiful. I've been through Raleigh, I've been through Charlotte, I've been up through, Hickory, all of that,
Yeah.
Cherokee, back on
Yep.
the east side, and it's a beautiful state. But so you're from North Carolina, but there's a little birdie told me you might be leaving North Carolina.
It is possible. Yes.
And where's your next chapter going to be?
I really feel called to Nashville, obviously. Like I already spend a good chunk of my time there. I'd live in Portland half time, and yeah, it's hard to really mesh into a community and take advantage of meeting people and actually, because I pack my weeks so much when I'm there with rights and making sure that I'm doing this showcase and this show to get paid and whatever, that it makes it hard to just go and actually hang out with people and just meet people. And I feel like that's one thing that's really lacking in what I'm doing, is just that connection that you get when you're actually living around people.
I've got close personal connections with an artist that lives in the Portland area, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they love it. They love it in Nashville because I mean, obviously, if you're going to be into music,
Yeah.
Nashville's the mecca of that. And I remember back in the day, it was country music. You go to Nashville. If you wanted to be rock and roll, you go to L.A. or wherever. But
Right.
like I'm seeing now that Nashville is the hub. Doesn't matter what genre you're in.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Most definitely.
Motley Crue is based out of Nashville now. They're on a big record label there. Evanescence is out of Nashville now, and it's like all these music genres are coming to Music City, which Nashville, obviously, with that in mind, is definitely you could definitely call it Music City for sure.
Yeah.
It's been going on, guys, for 20 years. They just made it public, so to speak, where now everybody can see that out front.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things when my wife and I were still dating, she would come up to visit me. And we got some fellow Louisiana folks that had jumped out of Katrina right after Katrina had happened. And they had come north and landed in Nashville and opened up a restaurant. If you go to Nashville, I recommend, especially on Saturday, I expect everybody to go check out Monell's and tell them Uncle Rhino sent you. And
Okay.
this place has got the most crazy breakfast you ever saw in your life. It's death by
Okay.
groceries. It's incredible.
We are not
And
endorsed by Monell's, but if Monell's wants to sponsor and endorse us,
yeah,
by
Oh
golly, do
no.
it.
Don't
yeah,
let
yeah,
them
don't.
down.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, but what the cool thing about Nashville to what we're hitting on here is you have a community of travelers.
Oh yeah.
That's what that is.
Yes.
Everybody that you're going to meet in Nashville is a fellow astronaut. The stargazers are left back at home where
Yeah.
you left. Okay, so they're always going to see you as a little crazy. They may appreciate you, they may admire you, but you're not the same. And they're always looking up, and you're always trying to blast off. So basically, when you go to Nashville, one of the first things you'll realize is everything and everybody around you flew in from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and then the music, to the point of the genres, there's never was separate genres. That was all marketing mess.
Right.
This was Ray Charles was blind and he saw the world better than anybody, and he damn sure saw music. And all the genres, all the heaviest rock guys had nothing but love for Hank Williams and Waylon and Johnny Cash and Willie. And those guys, all those country guys had nothing but love for the rockers when they were kicking the tires and lighting the fires. So basically, I took my wife to Monell's, and you sit with strangers. You sit at these big old long tables, and they just put everybody at the table, and you and your little cluster are sitting at these ragtag tables, different mix match, but you don't know. And then they bring all the food out in these big giant bowls, and you might have Gretchen Wilson sitting across from you. It'll be Sunday morning. That's the best one, Sunday morning, because you trying to shake off Saturday night, and you're all sitting there, and then my wife was pulling on my shirt and want me to look on the other side of her. Who is that? Who I think it is? Yes, that's Robert Plant. He just sat down next to you. Yes, that is the Robert Plant sitting right next to you. Yes, ma'am. Pass him some biscuits because he's looking at you like you're being selfish. Yes, and to me, that's my Nashville, and that's the Nashville that still exists.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I go to Printer's Alley, because it has that nostalgic little feel to it still. Like, you go into these like dive bars and people are just in there just playing, and it's not about how good you are, it's just about sharing and being in the music. And I absolutely love that. That's honestly one thing that I loved about LA, was you had these like little clubs that like maybe 15 people were in, but like they were having the time of their life back there sharing music. And I didn't find that in Nashville until I went to Printer's Alley and started looking around there.
What's the names of the clubs that are? I saw Bourbon Street Blues. I remembered when they kicked off.
Yeah, the one that I absolutely love actually shut down. It was called the Fedora, and I think it closed. But like Alley Taps is still, I think it's Alley Taps. Alley Taps is still down there. There's still a few that are down there.
So we're going to you're getting pulled in here. So so for the listeners, this is 100% organic. So this is so cool. So I got my very first record deal at a club there in Printer's Alley. Yes. Okay.
Oh,
so
awesome.
when you walk in from the direction of the Ryman Auditorium, where it's back behind you.
Yep.
When you walk in, used to be the first door on your left was a strip club. So we just keep walking. And the one on the right was called Barbara's.
Okay.
And then the next one on the right was called the Captain's Table. And then the one on the left at the end was called Skulls. Now, it was very common to pop into Skulls and you'd see Willie in there just playing his guitar, right? It was very common to go see a guy named Ira Dean up there playing.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. When you popped into the Captain's Table, this is why everybody's got to understand how magical this place is she's talking about. When you walk into the Captain's Table, it's just an all black listening room, black ceiling, black floors, little bitty bar down there. It's nothing fancy. It's small. Maybe you can put like 80 people in there or something, right? Mm-hmm. There's a balcony. But what people don't know is that was Al Capone's place.
That's it. That's what it was. It turned into the Fedora.
That was my
favorite place.
I used to play there. Did you see the real room that's hidden in the back?
No, I didn't go back there.
So the listening room is just the facade during the speakeasy days when they were hiding from the G-men. If you go in through the pantry or one of the other hidden secret doors, it opens up to an 8,000 square foot ballroom in the back with the giant velvet curtains and the big half oval stage with the little footlights, the little light bulbs all the way around the stage, indicative of the 20s and the 30s. They used to have gambling and liquor back there. And so I found out about that place. And we played every Wednesday night. That's where I got my first record deal, was in that room.
That's
so
awesome.
You have to go back there and play for your unk and keep it going.
Okay. Well, I don't know what it is now, but I'll go down there. I'll find out.
There's still magic in that house. Let's go.
Tell them when you go, Uncle Rano said, I need to go see the back room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, it'll blow your mind.
See that? You loved the place. You were unaware of the secret passage.
No, I took all kinds of pictures in that place because it reminded me of Bar La Bouche something in LA that I absolutely adored. But like it's like a time capsule. Like you walk in there and it's like, you just know, like, that like Patsy Cline probably walked in there and like whoever else walked in there, and it just has history. And I think that's what I love. Like when I think about music, that's what I love the most, is that like it doesn't matter where you're from or like what's happened in your life or anything, like you can connect over that music. And it's like this generational gap thing that just happens. Like it pulls the old to the new to whatever. And
You're
I
a
don't know.
continuance. You are a
Yeah,
continuance. It's like it's not about when the cup of water was. It's all the
right.
same river. And
Exactly.
you were a continuance. That night that I got my record deal, my publisher had totally screwed up, and they didn't have the meeting. And I had had all these people come up to see me because I was supposed to have labels come. And at the last minute, the publisher made me aware that they dropped the ball, and all these people come in to see it, and no labels were coming. And do you know who Harlan Howard was?
Hmm. I do.
Okay, he never went out at night. You never saw him at night. He was the most successful writer in Nashville history, and I saw he was my co-writer and my friend, and I saw the neon lights at the front door, the exit lights on the door. I saw somebody come in the front door, and I saw the glow from those neon exit lights around that white hair, and that was Harlan out at night who had showed up to see us play, and with him he brought Tracy Gershon, a phenomenal human being, music business professional, who was the head of A&R for Imprint Records. And Harlan is the reason I got that first record deal in that place. So when you feel ghosts, when you feel magic, it's everywhere in Nashville. And for those who don't know, the only way to learn is go retrace the steps.
Okay.
Remember that next time you go, and then
Oh.
who knows, you may get a record deal.
It happens.
So you were saying you went to L.A. and that's been what, a couple of years you went
Yeah, I
to
went in
L.A.
2023. So I went to Texas for South by Southwest, and then that was in March. And then we went to LA in May. Started up in Pacifica and played at Winter's Tavern, which was a metal club, so that was kind of weird. But they let me come play a matinee show. And then went through Solving down to LA. Ended up playing the Viper Room the very last day I was there. But while I was there, like I also did a few rounds and like songwriter rounds, and I loved the diversity. Like it was so eclectic of because I was used to the Nashville scene of like Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, Morgan Wallen, Morgan. Like everybody was just like copy paste. And in LA, it's like anything goes. So literally, there was a guy that was doing classical, like an Asian guy doing classic country, like Loretta Lynn, with like a experimental Broadway singer, like in the same round. And I was just like, what is this? This is fantastic, though. And but like to see the camaraderie of like there was no ego. Like I'm sure there's egos because musicians have egos. Like that's a lie. If a musician ever tells you they don't have an ego, they're lying. But to see the camaraderie of like people of all these different elements coming together and they just wanted to create music, like I absolutely adored that.
Well, and you said the Viper Room, and that's a
Mhm.
well known club. How did things go at the Viper Room?
It was good. So I was nervous about the Viper Room because literally there were like metal bands like playing upstairs or whatever because I did the lounge downstairs and rap artist and whatever. Like it was very eclectic too. And then here I come, like little country girl. I'm playing Jolene and whatever. But it was so well received. And I think honestly that experience is what inspired my song Jesus in a Bar, because on my way back, I started getting all these texts from like church folk worried about my salvation because I just
I'm
played the
sure.
Viper. And
You're a heathen.
yes, and they were like, what's happened? And I was like, listen, like, but it was one of those experiences of like seeing all these different groups come together and just enjoy music and support one another. And that's where that song came from because it was like, it's not about like these religious rules. It's about caring for people and loving people and meeting people where they are and just being there for somebody.
And you can still be a Christian and be religious and
Exactly.
still go to the Viper Room, to, regardless of
Exactly.
what people feel.
Well, and my whole thing with that is like, you've got to get outside the four walls of the church. Like, the mission field is outside those four walls. The people that need to hear about Jesus and hear about faith and hear about just, life change, they're not necessarily in the pews on a Sunday morning. They're at the bars on Saturday night. So, I don't know.
One of the worst things that ever happened to Jesus were Christians. You don't have enough Christ-like people and way too many Christians. And the people who are real quick to judge like that becomes a problem. They don't understand. The only time I look down on somebody is when I'm picking them up. That was Jesus. And so when it comes, and if you're going to try to grow the flock, and if you're going to heal people, you don't heal people where everybody's healthy. You got to go out to where the sick folks are. And you can't bring people to the light who are already taking a nap in it. You got to go out into the darkest places to bring them. That's where the heavy lifting's at. Not for all the people who dress nice and sleep on the front pew in the middle of, how great thou art. We got way too many professional preachers that only talk to the choir when the work is out in the street. So kudos to you for going out, because the best way that you can bring people to the Creator is by being a shining, beautiful light and going out there and being a good person who does not throw stones but only opens your heart. You throw your heart, but you don't throw rocks. And that's a beautiful thing, and we need more of that. We don't need more people that, I'm worried about your salvation. For real? What you reckon's gonna happen to it?
Yeah, I went to the dark side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, start humming some AC/DC. Take it to the house. That's right. I found something. Y'all made me go look. Can you see that?
Is that
I
Harlan?
can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that
That's
handsome
me.
guy right there in the circle on the right? Who is that handsome boy with the hair?
That's when Uncle Rhino was baby Uncle Rhino, and that's me and Harlan. He wanted, his wife Melanie wanted to see him in my hat, so I took my hat off and Harlan threw it on. And honestly, he looked way better in it than I did. So that
I was
was
going to
that.
say, I don't remember him ever wearing a hat, but okay, that makes
He
sense.
did, and that was after one of our writing appointments. Yeah,
Homeboy had hair back then. Dang, boy.
I did. Well, yeah, I was born
Wavy
bald
hair.
headed.
You had that wavy the hair going on.
Oh, yeah, like Shrek said, or one of them on the Shrek show, he said he had thick, wavy locks. Yeah, that's what I had. I had the thick, wavy locks.
What happened?
I got mad one day and it all died. Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. It just got smoted. Since we're talking about the Lord, it got smoted. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy, man.
It's just
So what have you been doing say in the last couple of years since you got back from LA? I see you've been posting on your social media. You got a lot of dates around North Carolina, obviously, but I also see a lot around in the Nashville area or in the Tennessee area.
well, I'm back and forth to Nashville quite a bit. I spend at least 1 to 2 weeks there every month. And so I'm trying to just kind of gather up places in that area too that I sort of have on a regular basis, just to build, relationships, if nothing else.
That was my next
And,
question. Do you have any like regular every week, like a spot that you like going to more than, or a place that
I would say like monthly. Like, I've got kind of the monthly thing. There's places that I would, especially when I'm there full time. Like, yeah, I want to have certain places that I know I can count on.
Well, I guess my
and do kind
question
of
was, do
residency
you
kind of
have
stuff.
a regular spot when you go back to Nashville? Or do you have a place that you do every time?
Pretty much. So like, well, not even in Nashville. Like, there's rounds that I always do when I'm in Nashville, because there's just, you sort of figure out your songwriter people and who you just kind of gravitate toward. And so I kind of stick with the Get Up or Nashville Universe. Like, those are kind of my people. But there's still people that will one off and do stuff with them, like Lucky Money and all that. And then as far as like places, there's a place in Murfreesboro, couple places in Murfreesboro that I play regularly. And one of them is Bourbon and Brews, and the other is the Burger Bar. There's a Burger Barn in Asheville. And then there's a place in, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. There's a place in Leapers Fork, the distillery there, that I love to play. And there's a couple other places like in Hendersonville and Lebanon and those areas.
So you got a nice little rotation.
I do. And people have been very kind and opening.
I was gonna ask you how was the response?
Honestly, some of my best friends are in Nashville, and usually like they find me a spot. Like they are very kind, and they find me a spot to play, and I appreciate that. So
all these places.
When we get off today, before we backstage, when we hop off, I'm gonna set you up with some. I'm gonna get you set up with some folks who you're gonna reach out to. Did you ever on Lower Broadway? I'm sure you spent some time down there, correct?
I have. Yep.
Okay.
Like 2nd Avenue, that area.
That whole strip down through there is a fiddling beast. She is famous. Renee Trouet. She has a fiddle, and she just goes. She plays like 6 or 8 shows a weekend, and she jumps in with all these bands that she plays with, and everyone knows her. She had her own record deal in the '90s on Curb. All this, she's phenomenal. But I'm going to introduce her to you and connect y'all because she's tribe and she's part of my heart from 30 plus years ago, and she's got it wired. So the way it works, Rob, is you can only get so far out of town and you're going into another town, right? And so the music industry being so highly concentrated around the row and for years and decades around Lower Broadway, what happened was the successful writers and artists started buying places in these boroughs and burbs like Smyrna and Murfreesboro and Hendersonville, where I had my place, and Leapers Fork. Because used to be Brentwood was as far south, then Franklin was as far south, then it became Leapers Fork, then it became Columbia. They just kept getting farther and farther away, going west to Newsom Station out that way. And then, like I said, you've got all these other little boroughs around. And what happens is Bellevue, Belmead, all these little areas, the writers were living out there. They got successful. They got places out there where once you do that, the world starts coming to you. So your writers start coming to your place. Maybe ever so often, once a week, you'll go down to the publishing company and write there or something. But most of the time, everybody likes writing at each other's homes. So you got the coffee pot right there, nobody bothering you, blah, blah, blah. So people start to do that. And as they begin to migrate out, and the music community starts to collect around Murfreesboro, around Mount Juliet, around Lebanon, and all these other places. It's pronounced Lebanon in Tennessee. It's Lebanon over across the ocean. But once you start doing that, Lebanon, yeah. Lebanon, and they know where we from out of town. You say, I'm over in Lebanon, and they go, what? Yeah. Yeah, down here it's Lafayette, but if I go up there, it's Lafayette, and I learned that real quick. I thought something was wrong with them, and it turned out it's that.
And if you go to Indiana, it's Lafayette. So I mean,
yeah. So basically, you end up with it starts with the writers and then the artists, and then you begin to have these villages, these musical villages popping up, and if you're going to have enough of them, you're going to have a hot little room out there, and nobody's got to go through all the struggling of the parking and everything. You know? So that's why they're so hot. But it's still super important that you can recharge your spirit, because you're going to have, when you're playing, the music people are always, when they come up, they're assessing and evaluating because they are of the same trade. But you want to play to people also who are excited about just something. And so that's where you're going to get to mostly meet the general population of music lovers who's there for the pilgrimage, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're adding to their magical experience for the first, sometimes the first and only time they'll ever go to Nashville, and you're going to get to be a part of that memory. So getting up there and playing for them and
Yeah.
hugging them and taking selfies with them and all that stuff, you have a huge opportunity to do beautiful things for a moment in somebody's life.
So what we're going to do at this point, because
Okay.
we're winding down on the interview, I want to talk about your new album that just broke.
Okay.
How long you been working on the album?
Oh goodness. So this one's a little different because I worked on other projects while I was working on this album. I know that sounds weird, but I kind of went with this producer up here for the Lately project. And so I had already started on what is now Map of Broken Hearts. And the one of the first tracks off of it was Colorado that came out in 2023. So
I remember that
it's
one.
been a while. And then I sort of took I don't want to say hiatus, but I started working on the Lately project. It took longer than I thought it was going to take with everything, and kind of got me off schedule. Be real honest, got me off schedule. And, I came back to this project, and it wasn't necessarily going to be like this map of broken hearts and make me sound like I'm like a serial dater, because I am by far not. But it just kind of took that life on, because I started writing these songs. Like, one is from, actually I wrote it like in 2018, and I'd never did anything with it. It was about my very first boyfriend, and just kind of like realizing that this relationship was just sucking me dry. Like, this was not a good relationship. And realizing those important things in life of, like, what is love, and like, and so that's really what this project is about. It's about, you never know with love. Like, it's always a risk. There's always a risk going into it. Nothing is ever guaranteed in life. But it's also beautiful, and it's also wonderful, and it's worth pursuing, and it's worth doing, and you learn a lot about yourself along the way. So
So,
that's what this project is.
so we always close off with a song of your choice.
Uh-huh.
I would assume, since the album just hit, that you would play the latest single that we're going to try to push and try to give exposure to. What is the name of that song? And tell us a little bit of backstory on the song.
Yeah, it's a song called Arcadia, and it's semi-fictionalized, but I think we've all been through, like, relationships that kind of leave you just questioning, like, was that even real? Like, was any of that even real? But it still, like, hits you. Like, it hits you in the heart, and there's this, like, bond that still exists, and you're still trying to figure out, and while you're still also grieving what, all these dreams that you had of this relationship and what was going to happen with it. And so it's just that kind of juxtaposition of, like, you kind of hate yourself, you hate the other person, but you don't know, like, who you hate more at the end of it.
So first of all, Jennifer, appreciate you hanging out with us today.
Yes, thank y'all so much.
It was awesome. You, like Rhino said, we're going to try to get you on a 90-day rotation.
Thank
We
you.
can get you back in here, in the fall, August, October or so.
Yeah.
You just get back with us when you have another single coming out about that time, and then we'll revisit, and we'll talk about the single. I got distracted by Rhino's sweet eyes over there. I think he's he's wanting to say something real quick.
Now, I just expect her. When we see her again, she's going to be giving us updates, folks. So,
I hope so.
this is the best part of it, is the ride. This is the funnest part. You
That's
know,
always been the hard part for me, because I'm a planner, and so I want that goal. Like, but I've realized in the past few years, honestly, since I've been doing music, that it's great to have goals, but you've really got to enjoy the ride, or it sucks you dry. Like,
it
you've got
is.
to learn to enjoy the ride.
You'll learn that is your goal,
Yeah.
because the journey is, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. and you think, oh, I have to get to that Target. That Target's just another place. Guess what? You're standing in a place right now. Two places, and one's not more important than the other. Right. It's how you feel about yourself, how you feel about everyone around you, how they feel about you, and if you're doing what you love, because you can be at that other place that you want to get to, and you can be hating getting out of bed every day because you're no longer doing it. So the places should not be the goal, and that's a big mistake so many make. Mm-hmm. They think they have to just change their location, when what you need to do is change your location where you're currently standing into what you want it to be. And don't change the location. Once you change your perspective, all that other stuff starts to happen.
Let's listen to Arcadia right now, the brand new one by Jennifer Alvarado off of her album. What is the album called again?
Map of Broken Hearts.
Where can folks get it? Where can it connect with you?
Yeah, well, first off, check out my website, jenniferalvarado.com, or any of my social medias are Jennifer Alvarado Music, just one big long word. And I'm on Spotify, all the things, Apple Music, Deezer, all those things.
Do you keep do you have a tour page or a gig page? So go to her webpage, guys. Check it out. If she is in your area, whether it be North Carolina or Tennessee, or maybe if she gets to go to Florida, wherever they book her, if she's in your area, go out there, buy her merch, buy her music, support these indie artists, because that's the only way they can continue to make this great music that we enjoy every day. It all comes out of that pocket. Jennifer, again,
thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us and getting in touch with me for the interview.
You bought her that sweatshirt.
Thank you both. I appreciate it.
The one that I told you I liked.
Thank you.
Here's Arcadia by Jennifer Alvarado on The Uncle Show.